Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining me on Beyond the Frame. I still can't get it right, Dan. With me today, I have Dan Patterson. I'm doing it backwards again. Dan Patterson's all the way from beautiful, chilled Menasha, Wisconsin. We'll just leave it there at Sabre Lanes, where we did our show. What was that? 2 weeks ago now already?
2 weeks ago.
Oh my God! It feels like yesterday. I still feel like I'm still frozen. Today we have a very special show. I'm getting our live feed up here so that I can watch for comments off to the side because I'm hoping we have some people join us. It's time for our first ever tweak or antique. Dan, why don't you tell the audience how we came about this concept?
It's like Price is Right. Well, a lot of it stems from your and I conversations. We're both very passionate, not just about bowling, but bowling centers and doing well. The ones that do right, we have nothing but respect for. And we've seen both. So when it comes to tweak or antique, there's been ideas. And now you and I have both been around decades, Jay. Decades.
Shut up. You're telling secrets. These are trade secrets. Nobody needs to know this.
So we've seen a lot of things come and go, but some stuff just kind of lingers there. So we're going to talk about stuff today that's been lingering in centers. It's been ideas that have been passed down pretty much generation to generation. And we're going to just review whether we think they're actually still valid.
Yes, very good. I'm typing in the chat now, say hi to us and get in on the conversation because we'd like to have, I hope I spelled conversation wrong. I can't look and talk and type at the same time. It's a hot mess. We'll have people that join us throughout the time. So if my head goes to the side, you'll know why. But why don't we just start right in with this? Because we don't have a lot of time. And I have I think about a dozen topics, a dozen promos that most people would recognize right away. All right, you want to just start?
Just jump in.
Am I just gonna pick one at random?
I think it's the best way.
Oh, I can't start with that one. It's too much. All right, we'll just start with pizza bowl. Because like a pizza bowl or family fun pack, what else has this been called?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Party night. You nailed it with the family thing. That's usually the angle they go towards.
Yeah, so like back when we both worked for AMF in those days, and then Bowlmore for you, the Family Fun Pack was the thing, and we saw that translate to a lot of bowling centers. But what it was bowling and food somehow packaged together in a thing. So pizza bowl, Family Fun Pack, package bowling and food together as a deal. Tweak, antique. I say tweak. It's always good
tweak as well.
Yeah, it's always good to package food and an experience together to help it be more than just we're going to go bowling. We're going to go out and have a good time. We're going to go bowling and have some of their great pizza or their wings, or maybe you only have popcorns, or heaven forbid somebody starts that tater tot bar. I am there. So Dan, how would you tweak the pizza bowl family fun pack combo today if you had to change yours tomorrow? Because I know you offer something like that.
We do, and we actually tweaked it right when I got to the center. So I'll just give you the real world example from here. One, they were doing this year round and on a peak bowling time. So families would come in and they were actually discounting. And you're going to hear us probably touch on this on a few of the ideas as far as timing, right time for it to happen to drive in the business. Because some of these things make sense depending on the time of year and the level of open play that you have in the building. So theirs was offered during a really peak time when those lanes are very valuable. And people were taking advantage of this discounted food, discounted bowling, and then they would hang out for a while because they already had the pizza, they already had the sodas. There wasn't much else for them to spend. So we actually tweaked the time up during the day, and everybody said, no, you can't do it. Well, it was such a good deal. Now we run it on Fridays from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and we fill up about 24 lanes with people coming in for the very simple package: bowling, pizza, and soda. Never include alcohol because the parents are always going to have a beer, and make sure those people that are coming on a non-peak time leave with free games. You're incentivizing them to come back to you.
Good idea. Great job. You said some interesting things there because you talked about people camping. I call them campers. They came to your facility, they spent the minimum amount, and they want to hang out there all day and take that lane up because there's still 3 frames left to bowl, and they can bowl as slow as they want, especially when you're on time bowling. Mike Cannington, what's up, fellas? Becoming a regular tandem. Mike, you're going to have a spot over here on Tweaker Antique because I think
you've got room on your couch right there. Mike can fit on there.
Mike, can you fit in this seat right here? We'll bring you on, Mike. Okay, so we both agree that the pizza bowl, family fun pack, any kind of food and beverage combo is great. You put some disclaimers out there that says, make sure it's at the right time. Make sure you're not giving your house away when it's super busy, and give them an incentive to return. Love those points. All right, we're done with that. We both agree tweak. I'm going to just pick the next one. Birthday parties. Each, and I went right for the big meat too. I didn't want to pull the little pepperoni out the side. I wanted that big hunk of sausage that was right in the middle of the pizza. I want the whole piece. All right, birthday parties. Obviously, they're not going to go anywhere. We're not going to antique that. You should always be tweaking your birthday party offerings, in my opinion. Dan, what do you say about that?
Jay, you nailed it. There's so many centers that I walk into that still, they give an hour and a half. Here's your package. It's kind of set up with a plastic tablecloth, the little birthday party plates. Maybe the names are in there or not. And the front desk person greets them, sends them on their way, and then maybe cashes them out an hour and a half later. That's old school party. Do you realize the competition that we have for birthday parties? This is why I would guarantee in almost every market, bowling centers would say they're down aggressively in parties. You can't compete with the game room vibe, these trampoline centers. But the thing that you can compete with is the level of service that they don't even expect when they go to those places. So if you can provide the service, then that's the tweak, I think. That's the gold that's going to get you those parties. That's what's been helping us a lot.
Wow, what a great way to point that out. So what you're saying is everybody's down to birthday parties. That's a given. But if you're going against these other places like the trampoline parks, like the arcades, like which people are still doing that, even if it doesn't time, depending where you're living, obviously, you're saying that when you go to those types of places, you're not expecting service. You're expecting to go in and use their stuff for the time, similar to the way the birthday parties were set up. Here's your tablecloth and your things. You're on lane 12 and you're done in an hour by E. That doesn't work anymore. You're right. So having a dedicated party host would be priority number one, in my opinion. You've done that in the past working for the other places. You still do that now with your current facility. And you remember back in the day when we had this little tiny bowling center in Fairport, New York called Fairview, when we do like 26 birthday parties on a Saturday on 24
Oh my God, bring it back.
No extra room, right? Yes. We would have like concourse area A, B, C, D, pinball area room. We would just make it work. But what made that work was, like you said, service. When people came to the door, they were escorted to their place. They were 100%. Given a level of expectation they could reasonably expect, and we over delivered on that, like you do often. And that was the difference. So setting the expectations, delivering the service, and over hitting that mark, A+. Anybody who tweaks their birthday parties in that way is going to win.
Well, I know we have a lot to talk about, but I really want to put a little cherry on top of that sundae you just delivered, is that you don't have to have an individualized party host like a Sarah or the 16-year-old girl that's doing it. It just means that if you have a party, one birthday party on that day, someone in the building, and it's usually you then, the manager, is assigned to make sure that that is executed in full. You greet them, you get the kids their shoes. And what's the most stressful thing about parents bringing a birthday party? Riling those kids, getting them the shoes, getting the names in, getting the balls. Once they're bowling, they're good to go. So it takes 15 minutes in the beginning, 10 minutes when you deliver the food, and a little bit of check-in. And those parents, they don't expect this service. And that's the bare minimum, right? So it doesn't have to be an individualized, hey, we're hiring a party host. It just means there is someone in the building assigned to make sure that party goes well.
Great. Agreed with that. All day. Rosa Katz is on. Rosa says hi. And Trey Autry. Trey runs Oil Bowl here in Texas. By the way, we're open 100%. Thank you, Governor Abbott, for all that fun stuff you just said, because we need that help here.
Good.
And that's going to start to spread around the country. So we're pushing it your way up north.
Good for you.
Birthday parties, give more bang for the buck. Decorations, bowling pin placements, all that can be covered. Yes. Anything to set off and make you different. Good point, Trey. Good point. And that's exactly what Dan was alluding to with taking care of the service aspect of birthday.
There's the tweak. Good point.
Good point. All right, here's a tough one. Let's go to every other week, once a month leagues. I'm crossing that one off. I am going to say antique. That can go back on the antique shelf as far as I'm concerned, because in most marketplaces, you know what a hot mess it is to manage the once a month league on the Saturday, and they're never on a Tuesday. They're always on a damn Saturday night, right? So now I've trained my customers to come in and spend money and have fun on Saturday nights, and but not the fourth Saturday. Sorry, that was off. Like, how do you manage that for real? Well, I know how we used to manage it. We used to have 4 once a month leagues, so that every week we'd have one, and then heaven forbid there was a 5th Saturday in the month, we roll the dice and figure that out. Dan, what do you say about once a month or every other week leagues?
I say my head's going to explode. You're going to see me get more passionate than you probably ever seen me, because I've had such an issue at every single center I've either managed, touched, or walk into, that either they think they're doing amazing by, like you say, filling up every other week with league. Well, you know what that does is, how many guests are calling during that time saying, do you have open bowling Saturday? And your front desk person is going, no, click. Are they calling back? No, they just know your center has no open bowling. So most of the centers that I managed or still manage here that have customers that call, the phone stops ringing on Saturday night because they don't even expect you not to have those bowlers.
Yeah.
The second thing is, and we all know this to be true with these once a month leagues, when it gets close to the holidays, how many of them are physically in your building?
Half, because they all, yeah, I mean, we have Saturday night leagues that would cancel because of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's Thursday, right, and you can't get your stuff together by Saturday to come throw a few balls and have a cocktail. Come on.
Yeah. Or they're pre-bowling or post-bowling. You'd have a 16-team league with 9 teams actually present, eating and drinking your facility, taking up those lanes. So my suggestion,
you have 16 lanes with no business on it.
Exactly. Well, and what we do here now, and the leagues now know this, and you have to be very upfront with them in the beginning. You're going to be VIPs. We're going to treat you really well, but those lanes get very valuable when the weather turns. So here's the deal. Before then, fine, spread out, you guys are good. Once the weather turns, if 2 teams pre or post bowl, we're shoving the league together, and 2 teams that didn't bowl each other are using the same pair. The second thing, and everybody is scared to give away that buffer pair. Don't get me started on the buffer pair. Non-peak times, nobody cares. Peak times, it's all about placement, because guess who you're putting next to the Saturday leagues? Future Saturday league bowlers.
Yeah.
So we have to get those people that are bowling next to them, the league bowlers, excited to have the right people next to them, create a little energy. Hey, look what we're doing over here. Buy those bowlers every week a pizza because they're going to be next to them. So I think they're still valuable, but it's a very micromanaged, like you said, it's a very needy group. So it's lower on the list, I think, as far as league play goes.
You put a little note in one of your notes back and forth, and we were talking about this, and you said make those end pair people that are next to the open play, make them ambassadors. Yes. And what a great way to think about this, right? Like, if I am in that league and I have a good relationship with the owner because I see you, every week, and you come up to me and you say, look, we're going to put open bowlers right next to you this week. I'm going to find the right people to put there. Adults. I'm not going to put kids with bumpers screaming in a party or anything. Right. But we're going to have adult people come to you. But could you please be an ambassador for your league, because they might be the right kinds of people to come join you in the future. That conversation is powerful, right? Yeah. I think if you can have that kind of relationship with some people in your league business, you're going to win like over and over and over, and you should have little to no problem impacting the future bowlers with the experience of that.
You said it just right, and it really puts a pin in a lot of these ideas. It's a lot of micro conversations that are exhausting, but if you do it and you do it right and you set the expectations for your guests, everybody's going to have a good time.
They are. I'd like to say hi to the people watching us right now. If you have a question for us, or if you want to chime in on one of our decisions, let us know. Moving on. Moving on. All right, let's talk about super cheap games / quarter mania. I think this has a lot of this is a multiple personality thing. It's called a lot of things, a lot of different. Some people charge $5 to get in the door, and it's like 50 cents a game for the rest of the night. There's a lot of ways to do this, super cheap kind of feel. I say personally, I want to put it on the antique shelf because I feel that it devalues my product. I'm teaching people not to pay more than 50 cents, $1, 25 cents a game of bowling. I'm keeping them in the 1970s mentality of, I'm going to go bowl 2 games and we're going to do this. That's fine if you are a traditional based center with that model, and you're never going to get rid of that. If you're looking to grow your revenue, expand your opportunity to offer an experience type visit to your customers, I think you kind of have to shift away from, everything has to be super cheap. If you're competing on price and price alone, you might win, but you're never going to win, if you know what I mean. You're just never gonna. The only reason Amazon wins on price alone is because they do 8 billion units a day in trading and sales. And you in your 24-lane center aren't going to do 8 billion trades or sales a day to make up for that pricing. So you have to get the pricing that's right for you. Now, that being said, I can't tell you what the right price is for you, but I can tell you that it might be too cheap if you focus on price. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, I'll just highlight a few things. I would be in your exact market of the antique part, even though pricing and specials do work. But as far as just stuff like this, of the race to the bottom, we've seen this in many markets. You have two competitors and they just keep going lower and lower. Are they upping their service? No. Are they improving their center? No. So now the expectation of the guest is lower, the price is lower, and those centers eventually close. So if it's the first thing you're thinking of to fill lanes is lower price, you're doing it backwards. Increase service, increase excitement, go that angle, the marketing, the fun, the vibe, go with that, and then fill some lanes with the right pricing, but not just these low specials. I agree. Antique. That's bowling of the 90s and the early aughts. Bowling centers are nicer. They expect better service. So let's give it to them and let's charge something that we deserve.
Agreed. I will put a star next to my antique critique of it and say, look, if you're doing something currently and it fills your facility and causes you to have great revenue, well, obviously you're not going to want to change that, but you may start thinking differently about why you're doing it and what your goals are and how could you reach those goals. Could you reach them differently and more effectively for you?
Well, and every center has their own demographic. Our demographic here, it doesn't matter if we basically gave away free bowling. This is very unique and we're very lucky. They're going to come in, buy food and beverage, be very respectful, and spend a bunch of money. That is not most bowling markets. So it depends on your bowling market. There can be some fortunate ones where that really doesn't matter as much. But then there's some where you have those users, Groupons, give me my quarter games and a glass of water, please. Well,
speaking of Groupon, Trey Autry uses Groupon at his bowl, at Oil Bowl. You know how I know? Because I'm on his mailing list and I get the offer. So it works for Trey. It does work for Trey. And I'm sure it works for a lot of proprietors out there. So I'm not saying don't use what works, but think about your mentality and your methodology for doing that. All right, let's go to something a little more, ladies' night. Even more controversial. Dan, what do you think about ladies' night as the concept?
Well, you and I have gone back and forth with this, and I think it's a very dated concept. I think just simply putting something that says ladies' night not necessarily would offend or trigger most people, but it just sounds
unless your name's Taylor Swift. I mean, she's not gonna put up with it. And you know what? She has 87 billion followers who think like she does now. And I get why that's offensive, right? You're saying, oh, if I let all these ladies come in my building and bowl for free, I'll get all the business and everybody be like, but that's not the right way to treat your customers. Right. Imagine you're the ladies and you're in the building and you're like, oh, I'm here for free because people are starting to want to date me. That's not fun. Yeah. It sounds like it could be, and I guess in the 70s it was a great thing, but I just think that type of promotion, we do a men's night too. Yeah, who shows up for that? Let me find out. So I don't know. I just say antique that, put it on the shelf. We'll admire it. And maybe in the future, we'll pull it out and go, wasn't that fun? Let's do it again.
Well said. I agree.
Okay. Get a blank league. That's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, you can go in so many different directions. I'm going to go in my most passionate direction, and that is get a ball or a bowling bag or shoes. I talk to my pro shop guy all of the time. And if you can incentivize any of your somewhat frequent guests to get something new and shiny, especially a bowling ball, then these people triple their visits, if not quadruple a month. You know what else they do? They bring more friends and family because they want to show off and they want people to see what they have and what they're doing. If you're not doing constantly a have a ball, a have a bag, or some kind of bowling equipment, you must. This should be at the top of your list.
Well, you're putting the equipment into people's hands that are going to help them enjoy your activity more. And what are they going to do? They don't want to enjoy it by themselves forever. They want to bring their friends to enjoy it too. They're like, 100%. Look, I'm getting really good at this and it's so much fun. I think you could be good too. And we could have fun together. It's just like how I dragged you to the casino that one time. And the rest is history.
Look at us now.
Look at us now. So yeah, I agree that have a whatever league is always a good thing. So there's always room to tweak it. Now, I am with you on using bowling equipment, but I've seen really, really success. Remember in the early 90s and late 90s and early 2000s, we had the my brain just went dead. The have a ball with on the ball marketing, which was called something else before. Remember, they would have all the licensing rights for SpongeBob balls came out, and oh my Lord, you'd have 800 kids wanting a damn SpongeBob ball. So you'd run the have a SpongeBob ball league. How many of those would
NFL,
you sell out?
NASCAR.
Yeah, and there we go. There we go. You know where I'm going.
Yeah.
So I think there's a way to do that with maybe PS5, maybe a Vegas trip or experience, or maybe you have a professional sports team in your town like we do. You know, we have 3 here in Houston, and well, one day some of them is going to win something, and that'll be a reason for people to come.
Here's one of the best tweaks, I think, for the have a blank ball. And we talked about this, at least we alluded to it on our 2 weeks ago podcast, is that if you're not partnering with somebody in your local market that either runs a great business or is highly respected or great at what they do, then you're kind of missing out on this. Because similar to the tattoo league that we ran about 6 months ago, we partnered with this very boutique tattoo shop. It was run by one woman, but her personality, she's one of those people that just walks in a room, everybody wants to talk to, giddy, fun, entertaining, energetic. She floored probably her own 16 people just from coming to the bowling center and chatting with people. And then those people went to her tattoo shop, and then it just kept steamrolling. So if you're not partnering with a have a blank something, a tattoo, a bike shop, a local charity, and letting them build your business for you, again, you have to shop and be extremely critical, because whatever they're doing is an influence on you. But if you're not doing that, again, probably second place on the list.
For sure, for sure. Joey San Martin was just commenting. He said, the Visiball things, but those can all be customized. So now you're right, Joey. Now you can have a ball league with whatever you want on it, and you don't have to worry about licensing or whatever, provided you own the content. All right, so we agree. We agree that that's a big old tweak.
That's a tweak.
Let's go to turkey shoot. Remember that? Do you remember?
I do.
Wait a minute. Now, I don't know if you really do. Do you really remember the turkey shoot? Or are you just
maybe it's not like yours from the olden days,
but
we just ran a turkey shoot. Are you talking about just a little mini tournament that you would run?
I'm talking about it used to be like you had to get 8 or more across these 10 lanes and then you win a turkey. So
enlighten us, old one. Okay.
We would have a 700-pound freezer in the basement of the bowl, and Marcel would buy like 300 turkeys around Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh my gosh.
And we would store them down there, and we'd have to go truck our butt down them stairs to get the turkey every time somebody wanted. But we would run that sucker every night after league, and we'd have no turkeys by the time the thing was done. So back in the day, it worked. Now today, does it work? Because I say this. Nobody cooks a turkey anymore. Very few people could. So could you take this turkey shoot, tweak it somehow, and offer maybe a full cooked meal delivered to your house?
Eat Street, right. Eat Street gift card.
There you go, Dan. There you go.
That's a great idea. And you and I have always talked about how we're going to engage and make sure our league bowlers feel a little more entertained. The days of just throwing them out there 35 weeks, go have fun, God bless. Those are over. We have to wave the Jedi magic wand and not let them know they're bowling a long season anymore and be excited for stuff. So I love that idea. I think we need to bring a little bit more of that stuff back. It engages the league bowlers and it engages the retail guests that come after league that are watching the league bowlers do this fun, funky thing. It's a win-win. That energy level in the building, I can feel it rising when you talk about it. So yeah, I'm going to steal that now. Turkey shoots are coming to Sabre.
Steal it. You want to get your pre-cooked turkey meal all ready to be eaten, you go see Dan.
I'm going to give him a little rotisserie chicken from the grocery store.
Well, there you go.
Chicken in a bag.
Homemade by Sandra Lee and Dan Patterson. Take this chicken and do with it as you please.
It's got your Sabre seasoning on it.
Sabre seasoning. And speaking of spin-off sales, there you go. Now at the snack bar, get your own bottle of Sabre seasoning to go. You like the fries at Sabre? Here's why. It's got special seasoning on them.
I'm going to charge extra for that. Yeah.
Well, why not? Cane's charges extra for their dang sauce, and all it is a bunch of oregano stirred with ketchup and mayo. Come on now.
Only you would know that.
I don't know. It tastes like that anyway. Yeah. We touched on Lucky 8 or Crazy 8 or any of those 8 or better or 9 or better contests across a certain number of lanes, similar to Turkey Shoot. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the Crazy 8, Lucky 8, something 8 thing?
Well, same thing. And if you haven't realized that I'm passionate about anything that'll entertain any of our guests, I love the idea of the no tap bowling. One, the majority of the people that walk in your bowling center, especially in a traditional market like we're at, are surprised that they can do anything other than just normal 10-pin scoring. So if you can add something that gives them a little more fun, more strikes on the board, something to do with that. And like you were saying, something you can do with the league bowlers. Just because it's a legacy 35-week USBC sanctioned league doesn't mean they still can't have a fun night. that doesn't count towards their normal scoring, an 8-pin night, a separate 8-pin tournament. A lot of markets have those that they run that they'll get around the holidays for an 8 or 9-pin no tap. 30 teams coming in because these bowlers are craving something to do. They love bowling, but they don't want the traditional 3 games, blah, 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 knock them down. So
they don't want
I
to
think
deal with Jimmy and his high rev rate and his and his shooting, 300, 863 in league and bitching because he left
back and forth.
a 10-pin or a 7-pin on the 7th frame of that game. They don't care. They just want to kick him in the crotch and go home, Jimmy. We don't.
Everybody hates Jimmy. Yeah.
Right. We want to have a good time, and we want to, so a different format. You brought a good point up there with, especially with Cubica scoring. You've got the evens, even better, odd duck. Those two games are, well, we experienced those in Vegas at the fundraiser for the Bowling Museum National Bowl. What was it called? Pat's gonna kill me.
The Hall of Fame
Extravaganza. Thank you.
Yes.
The first time we ever bowled those special games, it was like, oh, we're good bowlers and we're competitive bowlers, and we can't get enough of these. I used a 6-pound house ball and I struck more times than I could ever count. And I was Jimmy. I was so mad about getting a strike with that 6-pound house ball because it was worth 0. But anyway, so use those special games that you have in your system and do a fun night with a crazy, lucky, whatever thing. Absolutely. Tweak. Yeah. Mike Cannington saved me. Extravaganza. Thanks, Mike. Joey San Martin was saying Turkey Bowl is 50 cents per game, and there were 3 different games that had the frames needed to have a strike. So they must have run it like a strike pot for their Turkey Bowl. Yeah. Good call. Good tweak, Joey. I like it.
Love it.
Let's talk about Saturday morning juniors.
Oh gosh, yes.
You go first.
I'll always say tweak, but listen, we are so far behind the times when it comes to Saturday morning juniors. We expect every child that walks in the door to be like, I've got 4 hours free every Saturday morning, and your parents are ready to bring you bowling. That is, I don't even know if that's 1980s. It might be 1970s. These kids are involved in so many sports. And we got to get out of our heads that we're competing now against, it used to be against the devices. That's still there, but kids are ready to play actual sports again. All the hockey leagues around here, full. Soccer, full. Volleyball, full. Bowling can be full, but we have to be flexible of our season. If you're in a cold market like we are, we're not going to run our juniors right when hockey practice is. You have to know what your kids are expecting. In warm markets, during the summer, junior league should be nothing but great, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be flexible, tweak it. And the last thing I'll say about juniors, we must entertain them. These kids are not coming in to bowl 3 games, have their parents try to coach them and leave frustrated. They want to have a good time and they want to be entertained. Have fun weeks every 2 weeks, run fun tournaments. Make sure your coaches are energetic. And the last thing I'll say with that, your coaching staff and the people running your juniors, because it's usually typically a little bit more of a lower margin thing for the centers, they should not be staffed. You should incentivize your parents to volunteer until their kids age out. Pay for little Jimmy's bowling every single week. Have them run your league for you. We don't have the energy to wake up every Saturday morning and make sure that's there. We got to save that for Saturday night when we're making our money. So incentivize them, have them run it for you.
Great
so hard
points.
tweak, really hard.
Rosa says great points, and I totally agree because we don't often think about this when we look at the Saturday morning in the junior program. But look at the conversation I had with Russ Malone and Kelvin Parker last week about ABC Gates Bowl, and they have 160 something bowlers on their Saturday program already.
Awesome.
And it's just the first season they took the bowl over. So they are finding that the audience is there, and they're going a really traditional route about it, right?
Yeah.
Chances are they've got some parents in the mix doing some of the work with them. Smart move. So Saturday morning juniors, tweak. I think we just need to take the word Saturday morning off altogether. And if it happens to happen on Saturday morning, great. But it's definitely not a necessity anymore. Definitely. Okay.
Nailed it.
We only have a couple left, and I know we're way over time, but we don't care. We're just going to do it anyway. Because y'all can just watch it at your leisure, push the pause button, and come back tomorrow and finish it with us.
We could talk for 4 hours about this stuff, Jay. Now I'm really worked up. I'm all ready to go.
I'm ready to go, too. I'm ready to get these last 3 done. The next one is, well, it's a little bit opposite, but it's all on the same vein. Senior or ladies daytime league business.
Yeah. Well, it goes along this.
Go.
It goes along the same thing as far as be flexible. But let me tell you a miss on so many legacy centers. It's similar to, have you ever heard the term center blindness? So
I really haven't thought about that now.
I've owned Sabre for a year now, and I walk around and I don't see stuff with fresh eyes anymore. There could be something here or a little paper over here, and now I don't see it. The first time I walked around, super critical eyes. I was on it, right? Well, there are these legacy centers that don't go back and look at like, hey, we have our seniors, 24 bowlers that come in 8:30 a.m. on Tuesday. Isn't that terrific? And you're like, you made $87 in lineage. They expect free coffee. You needed a counter person, your facility manager or a mechanic in the building, and now you have zero other revenue for 4 hours. Is it still yay? Or do we need to now nudge them into a different day, later in the day? Critical conversations, these micro conversations, setting the expectations. Some of this stuff just doesn't work anymore. So it's a really hard tweak. All of our energy should be focused when we make our money, and that should, I hope, be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If it's not, then stop what you're doing and grow your weekend peak business. That is all where your energy should be.
Absolutely.
Once that's cruising, then fill in the spots. But the days of flooring 10 seniors in the morning, 20 in the afternoon, it might not be worth your time. Sadly.
And when you think about the daytime ladies league model, wasn't that back from the 50s and 60s where there's women that stay home and they have nothing to do? Find me those women now, because they're either passed away or, they're home now because they're all doing their Zoom meetings. There's a tweak, Dan. We have a Zoom day a work bowl day, and everybody goes in your conference rooms and does the work for the rest of the few hours.
I like it.
Oh, so we just thought of a tweak.
I'm going to run out my entire center.
You know who got a bad rap for really focusing on this? Well, because you were part of it, but AMF Bolero Bullmore, right? They got the crap kicked out of them when they started to go into marketplace, and they were like, I'm open for 3 hours of business that nets me, like you said, $87 in revenue. I have 6 employees in the building for 6 more hours because I have to. Why would I do this? So you're right. Critical conversations. Let's get those leads to the same day. Maybe you do it once. Everybody bowls on, Tuesday morning, and you've got a whole house. Worth it. Okay, good. That's the tweak. It's definitely not antique, but it's, it looks pretty nice on that antique shelf. I'm just saying.
A little dusty.
This is, I'm going to just tell you, military/senior pricing. I say it's antique. Here's why, before you shout at me. I don't know that we go to a lot of places and we see the military senior pricing still in existence. But, and here's the but, if you live in a military town, if you live in an environment that, values the military differently than other environments do, meaning they're showing that value differently and offering these kinds of things, then obviously you don't want to get rid of that. But should that be your starting point, I guess is my thought. What do you think, Dan?
I think you're dead on. And it's interesting. I was just given a tour for a upcoming class reunion, and we were talking about charities to partner with. And I said, there are some charities that could trigger people, or they're a little bit more critical, or what's the word? Controversial is what I'm looking for. But there's a few things that are not. One, like dog shelters, animal shelters. It's hard to find somebody who's like, oh, we hate all our shelters. But also veterans. Veterans are always beloved. We appreciate our veterans. Of
course we do.
I don't think you can find anybody that has any angst against a veteran other than just thank you for your service. We value that. But here's what centers should do. You don't need to say that we have a military discount, please come in. What you should do is not advertise that at all, but train your staff that if a veteran comes in, then thank them for their service and give them a discount in games. That is what's impactful. The unexpected thank you, not the people that I haven't been in a center other than these bowling markets that are right next to a base. I've never managed a center that drug in just a bunch of veterans or military people because of the discount. So if you don't have that, then make it special. Now you have a chance to have a conversation and really knock it out of the park. So I agree. Antique, but still valuable in the right way. And I like the way you're talking about using that to your advantage. Not advertising it, but going out of your way to having a one-off conversation when you can, and taking care of those customers, letting them know that you personally appreciate their service and their efforts for us. Good job. Well, we are on number 12, and it's a good one. So I saved it for last on purpose. Moonlight, Cosmic, Monte Carlo, Extreme, Rock and Roll, Lane Quake. I've heard it called so many things. Greg Joseph's going, wait, I call it Lane Quake. That's my thing. Yeah, Greg, it's yours. Nobody else in the country calls it Lane Quake except for Greg Joseph in Waverly, New York. But he does, and he fills it, right? So
you have a very strong rock and bowl business. Rock and bowl extreme, whatever you want to call it, has always been a pretty good thing. But I think when you look at it a little bit closer, it's good for certain reasons. And you alluded to them in your notes that you sent me. I'm gonna let you start on this.
Well, it's all about the energy level. And this should come as zero surprise to anybody, that especially the millennials, zillennials, if I'm even saying that right, that are coming in, we are competing with them.
Alpha Gen after millennials.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I want to be part of that.
Too late.
I need to drink some Savor juice to keep me young. So it's all about the energy that we create in the building. There are still so many centers that, oh, we're going to turn the lights off and then we're going to have a little bit of music. I went to a center, I won't say where, somewhere within the 200-mile vicinity of where I'm sitting now. We'll keep it very vague. But I wanted to shop
that narrows it down to 312 centers. Keep going.
It does. It's Wisconsin. I wanted to shop them on a Saturday. I walked in there. Their leagues just got done. It was full white light. This is at 9:15 at night. They said they were just getting ready to check in for their galactic bowling. Uh-oh, I'm giving things away. And so then it kind of started up, and the music level is about what it would be for a senior league. There was one person on the counter that was just doing a transactional thing, giving out shoes, and then people came in. But their environment, glow lanes, great Best X storing, so people can still have a great time because they at least had that. But the rest of it, the energy level was just, meh. If you're going out and spending money on a Friday and Saturday night, what are you looking for? Energy, distraction,
to be shouted
something
at.
to talk about. Yes, you want fun stuff, right? So it's a very, very huge tweak. If you're not filling your lanes in the peak season on these programs, then you only have one job, and that's to focus on that. Energy, the people, the cruise director, you can call it whatever you want, but you need to put all the energy on that. You will make so much money on such a short amount of time, and you will get all these people to go out into your marketplace and be these preachers of great times because of the feeling they have. They'll go nowhere else.
You know, it's interesting because when I was at your center for the very first time when we ran a tournament up there, you have a young boy that works for you, and his father, Ken, runs the pro shop, and Danny is a good bowler, right? So he's that bowling rat that likes to be at the center all the time, and he's like, what was he, a pin chaser or desk person, whatever at the time. And I said to him, Danny, you should be on the microphone more often. You should take this, you should use this opportunity.
He still talks about this, Jay.
To grow your speaking voice, because we both know that when you have a successful nighttime weekend business, it's not because you're playing, Britney Spears
Rihanna
and Taylor Swift or country, the best country mix, modern country, or whatever music style you play. It's not because you're playing that. That may dictate the type of people that you draw in. But what happens is when you have an exciting, fun environment with dynamic personalities that are accessible and interacting with your audience, the fun factor goes like this. It's like a coronavirus before the vaccine, right? It's like zoom, and then you become like a magnet for things. So you really want to, and I didn't mean any bad things by the analogy. I'm just talking about a graph, people. We're talking about a graph. It goes like that. So I think that, if you have these types of events, which I don't know of a traditional base center that doesn't have something like this on the weekends, I think you need to look at tweaking it. I think you need to make sure you've got the right people in place. The offer's fine, the pricing, whatever is, that's negotiable, right? That doesn't really matter as much right now. But what are you doing with that time? How are you entertaining and engaging your audience? And look at that closely. It doesn't have to be with, we give away $1,000 in a strike pot. Well, that's great. That resonates really nicely with people who want to win $1,000 and are good bowlers. But is that your audience? It might be. If so, kudos to you. I'll take you to Conroe Bowl here in Conroe, Texas, where on Saturday nights they have, are you ready for this? No taps. It's always plural. It's called no taps. Houston in general, it's no taps. That means it's a no tap tournament. They just pluralize it for some reason, and I don't, it just happens. But they're full, and they have like 7 $1,000 strike shots and one $5,000 strike shot. And now it's gotten to be where the good bowlers are there, so you have to have 2 or 3 strikes in a row to win the pot. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they're packed. 60, 70, 80 team entries on a night with crossovers. Do you know what crossovers are? Optional doubles. We'll just leave that.
There we go.
Crossovers is optional doubles. So you can cross with as many people as you want. I can get your $5 and your $5. Now I've got 3 partners to win with. Great concept, great format in that audience, and that for that bowling center, that's their audience. They win every time they do it. Does
Awesome.
that work at Sabre Lanes? Probably not.
No, right, correct.
That's my point, though. They are taking the same concept and making it work for them with different engagement. And that's all you really need to think about. Oh, Dan, your camera just went off for some reason.
I know, sorry.
We'll leave that there. So we both agree that you should tweak that whenever possible. Which ones did we really antique? I think we really only antiqued the pricing, the cheap games. Everything else is kind of a tweak, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would like to thank you. Do you have any more points to add before we end the show today?
Well,
Okay,
I could always talk about
yes.
bowling forever. I know. I'll be very quick, though. I would just say that there's some overarching themes. One, energy level, hiring the right people. You nailed it with Danny. If you don't have the right people working on the right times, then again, that's where the energy of your energy should go. And the last thing I'll say, and you heard me allude to this a couple of weeks ago, is just say yes and be flexible. Get the no's out of your building. Every bowling center, for the most part, that's been around longer than 15 years, which is all of them pretty much, there's a lot of no's, just the mentality of no. You can't bowl at this time, you can't do this, can't do this, can't do this. Get the no's out. We talk about tweaking these. The first tweak is get the no's out. Say yes, bring the energy, get the right people there.
And that, my friends, is Dan Patterson, author of the new and upcoming book, Don't Say No Anymore. It'll be available on Amazon soon. And when it is, I want 10%. So no, I agree, Dan. You really bring some valid points. And I've actually taken that on and talked to some of my clients that I work with on a daily basis about. We do say no too often. And it's okay to say no, but figure out how to say it in a better way. Obviously, not everything can happen in your bowling center. But when you stop saying no, and I think I use this line in the paper, when you don't say no to a potential customer who calls up and asks a bunch of questions, you end up becoming the facility that they're envisioning having their event at, even if that wasn't your vision, right? Because you're giving them other ways to execute whatever they're asking for. Can I have food catered? Maybe that's not your deal, but maybe you figure out how to do it for them. I don't know. Okay, that's been a lot today. We're way over on time. We're at 45 minutes-ish. Thank you to all. Yeah, I know, it's a long time. Thank you to all of the people who are watching online. Mike, Rosa, Joey, Trey, Bill Stoddard. I didn't shout out to you earlier. Sorry, Billy. And the rest of you, if you have any questions for Dan Patterson or myself, you can email Dan at bowl@sabrelanes.com, S-A-B-R-E lanes.com, and he might answer you. No, he will answer you. And if you want to get a hold of me, it's letter J, last name Nephew, @cubicaamf.us. We look forward to having you again on Beyond the Frame. Now, next week is, I got to get my weeks right. Dottie will be back next week. No, I'm back next week with... Guess who I have next week, Dan? You're going to love this.
I'm excited to hear.
I have Dr. Dean Hidditz.
Oh my gosh, I'll be there.
Sports psychologist will
this
be
guy
here.
Is awesome.
He's amazing, right? So Dr. Dean will be here next Tuesday, the 9th.
I feel like I'm all pumped now. There are a few people in the world that get me more pumped than that guy. He is so good.
He's really good. So learn a little bit about sports psychology. Let's talk about the industry as to how, when you're running a center in today's environment, it kind of feels like you're a bowler. And we'll explain a little bit of that with Dr. Dean next Tuesday.
Love it.
On behalf of Dan Patterson, myself, Jay Nephew, and all of us here at Cubica AMF, we'd like to thank you for joining us on Beyond the Frame. We'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Don't hang up, Dan.
Okay.
There, I stopped the video.
Okay, good.
No, I didn't stop the video. It's still live.